So we'll start with Parsha Zachor. And all Parshas this week we have Parsha Zachor. And the obvious question is a woman chayiv in Parsha Zachor? The age-old question. So there's our Parshas here. So first of all, Parsha Zachor is a chiv d'oraisa, l'chayra. It's a chiv d'oraisa. It's interesting. The Mechaber says like this: Yeshar Misha Parsha Zachor, Parshas Porah is chayiv l'karim d'oraisa. Comes from a Tosfos that even Parshas Porah is d'oraisa. The Baisa Porah is a chiddush. Haba Chodim say that Porah is not d'oraisa, but Parsha Zachor l'chayra, according to many poskim, is d'oraisa. So now the question is this: what is d'oraisa? To hear it in shul, or just to learn it yourself? That's question A. And question B: what is d'oraisa? In other words, what do I have to do? I have to read Parsha Zachor, or I could just say I remember Amalek. Do I have to learn it from the parsha?
Why isn't it a mitzvah sasa shows my grandma?
And three, the question is Noshim Achayiv, if it's a mitzvah shows my grandma. That's a good question.
Which means
a mitzvah that comes timely is Noshim Achayiv, like shofar, things like that, Achayiv. So the question is, what about that? So first, let's see what the chiv d'oraisa is. So without going through all the background of the machlokes rishonim, but there is a raya from a rush that even for a minyan, even to have a minyan together, there's a chiv d'oraisa for Parshas Porah to lay it together with a minyan. There's a raya from a rush because it says a lot of free a slave, not a lot of free a slave. There's a lot of lav, and I say you to work your first slave. You're gonna say. You to work your slave, so you're not allowed to free him. But if you need a minyan for Parsha Zachor, so then you could free him. So first you see two things. You see that is a chiv to lane Parsha Zachor for a minyan, and two, you see woman on a chayiv, because a slave would have been chayiv without it. Maybe just kept him starved to a minyan. See, he's not starved to a minyan, but could be stuck a chayiv, it's not starved to a minyan. But upon him, so we come to Winnoig to Lein and Patzibur.
Do the slaves have any other positive mitzvahs that women have?
The chayiv mitzvahs like men, not like women. A slave.
Not like women.
I'm sorry, like women, not like men. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Like women, not like men.
Problems.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking is, do they have any other positive? Do slaves, Evid Kanani, have any positive mitzvahs that women have?
Yeah.
Which ones?
All of them.
They have to eat matzah, for example?
Yeah.
I thought when they said that an Evid Kanani is equal to, has the same, it just meant prohibitions, but it also refers to positive.
Yeah. So we say with some mitzvahs, the women are chayiv because they were involved in the mitzvah. How does that apply to the slaves? I mean, are the slaves? You said the slaves.
It's a good question how the slaves work. It's a heck of sure. It's a good question. Where does the chiyuv of slaves come from? Lo. We learn out of pasuk, whatever noshim chayivim, they're chayivim, how that works out. But I'll upon him. This is a question: what the chiyuv is, and if I hear, let's say, I hear Parsha Zachor, and I miss a word on my yotza. So we're noying to try to get to like the strictest view, where you got to lay it inside the pasuk, inside the Torah with a minyan, to get Parsha Zachor. But if someone can't, he should definitely read it at home, even though he's not reading it from a klaf and this and that. But it could be his yotze according to some rishonim. Now there's an interesting question like this. We'll get back to the noshim. The Trumas Hadeshin says that let's say a person that can't come to shul, he can only come to shul once. Let's say he's stuck in jail, only going to let him out one time. So either he could come out to hear Parsha Zachor, or he could come out to hear the Megillah. Which one should he come out to hear? So the Trumas Hadeshin says that Parsha Zachor is better with a minyan, because even though he can lay it himself, he can read it himself, But the Parsha Zachor with a minyan is better than hearing the Megillah with a minyan. You compare with the Megillah yourself, so it's better to come out for Parsha Zachor rather than come out for the Megillah. But the Magen Avraham says he has an eitzah. He has an eitzah by Kriyas Megillah. Before they learn the Megillah, they learn the Torah, and they learn the Parsha Vayavay Amalek. Right?
Yeah.
They learn the Parsha Vayavay Amalek, which is not the same thing that we learn in Parsha K'seitzek, but it's rather it's on the end of B'Shalach. They learn the Parsha Vayavay Amalek, and
that's Chiras Amalek.
And that's Chiras Amalek. So the Magen Avraham says it could be yotze with that.
And still catch the Megillah.
Still catch the Megillah. So we see a chiddush in Magen Avraham. Other Achronim argue. We see a chiddush in the Magen Avraham that you could be yotze the parsha of Zachor, not just with the parsha of Zachor what we learn, but you could even be yotze with the parsha of Vayavay Amalek. So others argue on the Magen Avraham, and so we don't do that with Chatchila, but if the Makom Matchak, we can be yotze with that. So back to the question of women. So there's a whole question. Does women are women mechuyev? So the chinuch is mashma. It's only for men, not for women. It's because they're not chayiv and they don't go out to war. And the din, the chinuch says the din of schiras of Mechias Amalek is totally in the din of Mechias Amalek. In other words, the din of remembering Amalek is totally in the din of killing them. If you don't have a mitzvah to kill them, so then you won't have a mitzvah to remember them, to kill them. So the chinuch is learning that the mitzvah to remember Amalek is based on you have to work up your sinner, so when you see him, you go and kill him.
How about Shevet Levi?
Huh? How about Shevet Levi? There's a whole Scheiner Achronim about Shevet Levi. If they don't go out to war. How do you know they don't go out to war? The Rambam, Shevet Levi doesn't go out to war. Yes, that's a good question. But Ma'aseh Shevet Levi is b'chuyev taken. But the Achronim talk about that. So that's what the chinuch holds. The Minchas chinuch argues. First of all, he says, who said they're not mechuyev to go out to war. Even Akala, Mechupasa goes out to Muhammad's mitzvah. So he says everybody is chayiv. He says everybody is chayiv. The question is if it's a mitzvah seishas magrama or not. That's a question. It's a question of it's a mitzvah seishas magrama. The Mechias Amalek isn't l'chayr.
Does he hold, Nicholas going to hold that women actually fight? Or they just supply the
They
lines?
probably supply the lines, yeah. They supply the lines.
That's good enough. That's enough to be called going out to war.
Going out to war, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so this is an old question. So the machlok is how we're noig today. You know, there's different shittas. Hopefully the Bishop brings it down. It doesn't seem like in those days they went. It doesn't seem like they used to go. And Nogo Anoshim, Minag Anoshim, the Goyim Mulublin. So Minag Anoshim was they never went out to hear the go find out in the Haven if they ever went out in Europe. Did they ever go out to hear Parsha Zachor, the ladies? He says they never went out to hear. Lamaisa, others say the Binyan Sian says that Noshim should go out and hear. So there's different places in Yerushalayim. I think there are a lot of places in Minhag the women do go out to hear Parsha Zachor. But this is machlokes. So there is an eitzah. That the women that go to Kriyas Megillah, if they go just a little bit earlier and they hear the Vayavay Amalek, since anyways they'll feed a Magen Avraham, they're going to be yotze, even though others hold not yotze, but for women, l'chayr is it's enough for them.
Well, why is it even on the table if it's a mitzvah sasa shas man grama?
Why? I'm not sure. I think because it's totally in the mechiyah. It's totally in killing Amalek.
And that's not a mitzvah.
You have to know why it's this man grama. We learn it once a year. Right, but it doesn't have to be now. We decided to put it on Parsha Zachor, but look, technically, if you did it middle of the summer, you decided to do. As a matter of fact, it's a question: how often do you have to do it? Some Rishonim are mashma, you could do it once every 3 years or so. As long as before you forget it. The question is, how often do you actually have to do Mechiras Amalek? As there's actually a shita.
But the once a year needs to be with a minyan.
Yeah, with a minyan. So there's actually a shita that I think it's based on Chassam Sofer, if I remember correctly, that by a leap year, since it's more than a year away, the Parashat Zachar, so those holes you forget. The point is, the reason why we do it once a year, because after a year you start forgetting. It's nishtakach min alev. So they used to have in mind.
Twice a year.
What?
We learn it twice a year because we learn it in the Parsha.
First of all, we learned it in the Parsha. Second of all, we learned it by Vayavei Amalek. Right.
3 times.
And then 3 times. But so they had in mind to be Yotzet. They had in mind to be Yotzet earlier when it's a leap year. So they had in mind to be Yotzet in Parshas B'Shalach in order that they shouldn't go a full year without remembering Amalek. Some Seif's Rebbe of Nosson Adler used to send a woman out to Parshas Zachar. It's an old question. Another question which gets compounded on top of this question is, do you make a separate minyan for a woman? The Talmud never allowed it here. Never allowed a separate minyan for a woman.
Why would you do that?
Because they can't come, let's say they have kids at home, they can't come for Kriyas Torah. So, right? So they make a minyan later for the Noshim. A lot of places do it. A lot of places do it. They make a later minyan. They make a kriya, just like you make a second kriyas Megillah for women, so they make a second kriyas Parshas Zachar for women. So the question is, are you allowed to take out a Sefer Torah just to lane? Is it a cover of the Sefer Torah just to take it out to lane for the woman? So yesh, some people do it, and some people say no, but after you shouldn't do it. So that's also a controversy. If you have 10 men there that weren't Yotze yet, that's even better.
And in that situation, you would lane only.
So it's better to leave a few minutes.
You wouldn't call up for someone for the lead, you just lane it.
Right.
Because it's a suffix,
Yeah.
right? Because it's a suffix. But what is the real chashash of, like, what would be wrong with doing that?
So
Let's say the women weren't mechayiv in it, and you did it.
No, so you don't stand take out a Sefer Torah for no
not
reason.
covered to
It's
the-
not covered Sefer Torah. You don't stand take out the Torah if you want to. A lot of people here, in the shul they have a minhag. I don't know where it came from. That the bar mitzvah boys they want to lane, so they take out the Sefer Torah to practice. It's not the best thing. I mean, if he needs it, it's one thing, but you're allowed to learn from Sefer Torah. You're allowed to take out Sefer Torah to learn, but we usually learn from Chamashim, not from Sefer Torah. But
Why you really shouldn't be allowed to take out the Sefer to read it?
if you're taking it out to learn, and that's the only Sefer Sefer Torah you're supposed to learn with. But if you're taking it out for other purposes, it's not.
Aren't you into learning?
We have to practice, get covered Sefer Torah. Sefer Torah is supposed to have a makom where it's kept, and chabde, lahadra, it's supposed to take it where we don't. If someone wants to make a laning in his house, we don't just take the Sefer Torah there. You take it there for 3 days. You have to have an iron for it. You don't just.
3 times, three lanes.
Yeah.
Aren't you also learning when you lane? By reading it?
I'm not saying it's.
So anytime you take it out and read from it, even bar mitzvah, you're learning.
You're right. I'm not saying it's asur, but it's definitely not l'chatchila. They don't have a mind to learn from it. They're just l'slamid. They're just learning. Good. If there's no other eitzah, they need to do it in order to practice. Then l'slamid is mutter. Usually it's more nerving than practically. They have in the tikkun. There's exact the same. Usually, except for some of the oldest Torah here. Not different, but the newer ones are all the same. Okay, that's one shaila. Nara Pashta, everybody has their own minhag, whether the women go or the women don't go. Definitely, you don't have to, we must not do to send them out. You don't have to send them out to be soymach on it. They don't have to go out. There was a minhag, it seems like the minhag in Europe, because nobody went. Mm-hmm. But it's all today do go, so. That's for Parshas Zachar. So just to recap that before we go on to the next topic, is you could either be Yotze with Parshas Vayavei Amalek. If someone can't hear the Kriya himself, he should lane it himself inside. If someone can't come to shul, he's sick, for whatever reason is, he should lane it inside to be Yotze Parshas Zachar. And someone could hear Vayavei Amalek, he be Yotze. And the women, if they're not going to go to shul for Parshas Zachar, so at least when they go for the Kriyas Megillah, they should go a little earlier and they could hear the Kriyas Torah of Vayavei Amalek, and they have a mind to be Yotze. It's important to have a mind to be Yotze. You need kavanah to be Yotze, and if you don't have a mind to be Yotze, you're not going to be Yotze. I'd like to bring up another question which came up recently. This is a different topic. I was trying to look into it to see if I could find anything more about it. But when they started this raffle campaign, the Rabbi started the raffle. They're raffling off a Megillah. So right out here on the display, they opened up a Megillah and they put it out. So you should see what it is. It's good to see what it is. It was a Ksav Ari. It's a Rizal Ksav. Yeah, it's a Mahakiv. But someone was more to me that there's halacha in Shulchan Aruch, that Kisvei Kodesh, first of all, Sefer Torah, you're not allowed to leave open. I'll leave the Sefer Torah open. For no reason, it has to be covered. That's why we have a matbach. It has to be covered, the Sefer Torah. And Hudin Shar Kisvei Kodesh. That's the Lashon of Bach and Lashon of Taz. Shar Kisvei Kodesh also are not allowed to be left open. It's not covered for the Kisvei Kodesh. Sometimes you find in certain places they leave, in certain museums they leave it open, and maybe there's a heter, I don't know, maybe the glass covering, I wasn't able to really look into it too much, but maybe a glass covering is called a covering. It's basically, I'm not sure, by tzoyas, not by glass, I don't know if that's called a covering, but it's time to leave it open. Sometimes they leave it open so people should see it, and they should want to donate money to fix it. That could be maybe for tzarech for the Sefer Torah itself. But you can't use the sefer, do a bezoyna sefer. Moshe has a tshuva. You can't do a bezoyna sefer for a different tzarech. For a tzarech of something else, you can't do. For a tzarech of the sefer itself, you could do. But they used to do it. It was a midak. Interesting. There was someone wrote to Moshe Shiloh. They had a sefer Torah open, and the Balkari used to put the the yad. After they finished learning, we would put it down on the sefer Torah on the spot, so it should point to where the next aliyah is, and he would leave it there till the next guy came up. The next guy came up and he saw where it was. So the Rabbi wanted to be matur. He asked Moshe what he held. Moshe said it's for sure not allowed, because you're not allowed to put something on the Sefer Torah. It's also not covered for the Sefer Torah. Now you can only put it on to cover the Sefer Torah. That's the tzarech the Sefer Torah itself. But here it's the tzarech the person that's reading, not the tzarech for the Sefer Torah. So that's not covered for the Sefer Torah. Moshe says kosher and tzarech for a raffle campaign, leave it open. So I wasn't sure. I was looking around trying to find klar raya, if you can leave it open or not. Peter he said avada, what's the shaila? You close it up and put it there. Didn't have any issues whatsoever. But Maisa couldn't find anything beforish except for that it's before taka when you finish laning, you're supposed to roll up the Megillah before you make the bracha. And one of the reasons is because it's a bezayin for the Megillah to be left open. There's a few reasons why. One of the reasons is the bezayin should be left open. That's why we roll it up before you make the bracha. So that's a little bit of a makar for this thing clearly by Megillah, because I didn't see it clearly written out by Megillah. But there's another interesting shaila by Megillah which is similar, is touching the cloth. We know by Sefer Torah you can't touch the cloth. You're not allowed to touch the Sefer Torah. If you touch it, there's Yomas Orim B'lei Mitzvahs. It says all kinds of things about it. A second. So the shaila is, what about a Megillah? So it's based on the Shar Tshuva speaks about it. Are you allowed to touch the Megillah? Sefer Torah you can't touch, and Shar Kisvei Kodesh is also a Shar if you're allowed to touch. You shouldn't be allowed to touch it. That's why it's boimat pachas. Pachas means you need a covering. The reason is when you touch it, you can touch it. You don't touch the thing itself. That's why Sefer Torah has a mantle. You shouldn't touch the Sefer Torah itself. You should touch the mantle. So this is boimat pachas. So the Gemara actually says that
But the Sefer Torah has an Eitz Chaim.
Yes, Eitz Chaim also has an Eitz Chaim.
Which the Megillah doesn't have.
Most of them don't have. Yeah. So Shaz are allowed to touch it. So actually, with Nosson Adler was careful. Rabbi Chassam Sofer was careful not to touch the Megillah, even Mishas Kriya, even when he was laying it.
How did he open it up? Then fold it.
How do you fold it?
Yes,
with a
something else, yeah, something else. But he ends off. Some he says, look in the Radvaz, and the Radvaz says that you're allowed to hold it b'leimat pachas, and that's what the minhag is. He says, the lo yreinu miyamedu, never saw misha nisr. Never saw whose nisr it's not to. Never saw someone's nisr it's not to touch the Megillah. So this is given a shaila, and Lamaisa, the minhag was always not to worry about touching it, but the shaila, you have to wash your hands beforehand, because by Shar Kisvei Kodesh Halachas, if you're going to touch it, you have to wash your hands before. Just like you wash, because Matamas Yadayim. Well, first of all, Matamas Yadayim is another shaila. If Matamas Yadayim means that if you're in the middle of your Suda, when you touch a Sefer Torah, you have to wash your hands. Because being that we don't want you to touch the Kisvei Kodesh in the middle of your meal, you might start to learn. I mean, like today, you might decide you want to learn in the middle of your Suda, so you'll take out the Sefer Torah and you start learning, and we're afraid the crumbs will get on the Sefer Torah, and then mice will come. So they made it us. They said if you touch the Sefer Torah in the middle of learning, your hands become tameh. You have to wash again. So there's a lot of steers in the Mishabura, B'Halacha. If you touch Shar Kisvei Kodesh, if you touch other Kisvei Kodesh, the Nach and other things, do you have to wash your hands in the middle of the Suda again? Steerus, it's only for Truma, maybe even for Chulin. No machlekes. One place to be out, Mishabura says you should wash your hands, and another place to be halacha, he says you don't have to wash your hands. You definitely shouldn't make a bracha when you wash your hands because of machlekes. But there's a question: do you have to wash your hands after you touch it? But who adin is a shayla to touch it before you wash your hands? Natal yadav. It could be allowed to even touch a Sefer Torah. It brings down. That brings out from Mishabur b'shem the Magen of Gibayrim that some holds that if you wash your hands, you're allowed to even touch the Sefer Torah. So therefore, there were a lot of people that had the minhag that before they learned the Megillah, they would wash their hands to be yotzei the shayla if you're allowed to touch a Megillah or not. There's actually a Gemara that says in Sanhedrin, the Gemara says the Megillah doesn't need a matpachas, so which sounds like you're allowed to touch it. But some say that Gemara is going as machlokes in Megillah if the Megillah is one of the Chavtal and Kisvei Kodesh or not. And we hold that it is. That Gemara maybe holds that it isn't. So that's a shaila. But my said the minhag is everybody touches the Megillah. But there are those that are noyeg, mikoyach this Mishabur, that if you wash your hands beforehand, anyways it could be it's mutter. So a lot of people are noyeg to wash their hands.
Wear cotton gloves.
What?
Wear cotton gloves.
Yeah, you wear gloves. Yeah. Yeah. The shaila by mezuzah also, you check your mezuzah, you're allowed to touch it. You know, you check the mezuzah. Even by mezuzah not to touch it. Others hold you are allowed to touch it. But Akaparam, that's another interesting shaila I saw. Well, the Megillah has the halacha of Kisvei Kodesh. Those holds that you're allowed to touch it. The reason is because Megillah is different because it's called an igeres. It's called a letter, right? So on one hand it's called a Kisvei Kodesh. On one hold it's called an igeres, and it's called a letter. You're allowed to open up and touch a letter. So that's the svara for those that are matter.
Well, we fold it like a letter. Right.
That's why when we read it, we fold it like a letter. Yeah. Staying in the Kriyas Megillah.
Letter is more intimate.
Staying in the Kriyas Megillah. There's an old shaila if you should read along. You know, should I read along when the guy's learning, or should I just listen carefully without reading? What's the question? Why? Yeah. Why not? So it's a twofold question.
Read along means with your lips.
Read along with your lips. There's a twofold question over here. There's one question is if I have a kosher Megillah in front of me, and there's another question if I don't have a kosher Megillah in front of me. If I don't have a kosher Megillah in front of me, I have the question, I want to be yotzei. You're not yotzei your kriya from a Megillah that's not kosher. If you're reading from the back of a chumash, you're not yotzei your kriyas Megillah. You have to read it from a Megillah that has a klaf. So the one who's reading it is the Balkari, he's reading it. You're just listening. So you have to be careful, huh? Yeah, you're Yaitz al Shemei HaKoina, but if you're reading it yourself from the Chumash, so maybe you're only Yaitz yourself and not reading. Ma'aseh by Kriyas HaTorah also, a lot of people lane along with it. You know, to be Yaitz Shnai Mikra V'Chatargim, you read along, and Avada, they also, you only Yaitz if you hear it from the Klav. So obviously you don't have in mind to to be yotze from yourself. Rather, you want to be yotze from here. You have to make sure I'm hearing the words from here, but I'm not reading it myself. That's if I don't have a kosher one. If I have a kosher one, the Biskarov was machmer, even by a kosher Megillah, not to read it himself, especially, not like this yet, but when the Purim came out on Shabbos, when Purim came out, they had a Purim Meshulish, and they used to lane on Friday, in Yerushalayim, which lanes on the 15th day, if it was pushed back to Friday, to lane the same day as the rest of the place. So the halacha is that a kriya bismana, when you're laying Megillah bismana, the right time, you don't need a lane with a minyan. But if you're laying shaloi bismana, earlier, let's say you're in the Kfarim, and you want to lane in your Gimel, right? First mission Megillah, you can lane your Gimel, your Dalet, Tezvav, you can your Dalet, your base Gimel. So anytime you're laning out of the right time, you need a lane with a minyan to be yotze. So this Rabbi used to say on these, the Mishabura says that when it's Machoikis, but the Mishabura says that when Purim comes out, when it's pushed back on 15th day and the Mekavas Chaim in Yerushalayim, it's pushed back to your Dalid, so that's like a Kriya Shaloi Bezmana, and you need a minyan, you can't be yotze a Yachid. It's a Mishabura Paskins. Others argue on the Mishabura, that's not called a Kriya Shaloi Bezmana. Mishabura brings that down. So Biskarav used to say, be careful not to lane along, because if you're laning along, you're yotze for your own Kriya, you're not yotze from the guy, from the Balkoya, and that's not a Kriya B'tzibur. That's a Chiddush. The Maisa, that's what he used to hold. Chaznish holds, no, if everybody lanes together, it's also a Kriya B'tzibur. Yeah.
Interesting.
Lamaisa, I'm not sure why they were so machbar on that, because we lane together with the Balkoya, even on Shabbos, from a Chumash, we don't have a mind to be yotze from ourselves, it's just a way of having kavanah. And it's important, because sometimes if you don't say along, you might miss a word. It's very hard. The whole Megillah to concentrate from the beginning to the end. But if you read it along very silently, so you're making sure to follow along. So that's a help. So, as far as Lakan, so there's some people that will read along, and there's some people that Dafka won't read along because they don't want to lane. But
if you miss a word...
but what's important to note is, let's say you miss a word. Yeah. This is where it comes in.
The whole thing, it's an all or nothing thing?
So the whole thing is all or nothing. You have to hear the whole Kriya Megillah to be yotze. There's a Bi'alacha that discusses that if you miss a word, but if you don't miss the idea, you don't miss a word that changes the idea of the Megillah, you don't miss enough words. Bi'alacha holds you're not yotze. When you get home, you have to lean again with a bracha. And I think it brings from Chayyadam. I have to check. I think it brings from Chayyadam that you are yotze. So a Safek al Kaparim, so you go home, you lean again without a bracha. So if you miss a word, Kosher Megillah, if you went to shul, you missed a word. Do I have to go lean again the whole Megillah from the start?
It's so hard to do because there's so much noise during the.
You have to be very careful to hear it.
Like baby suddenly crying or something.
Yeah, so that's why some people will have will lean along, because this way, even if you miss a word, you're yotze. If you read it yourself, you're yotze that word. Now the problem is like this.
You don't have a kosher Megillah.
You don't have to. The whole Megillah doesn't have to be done from a kosher Megillah. Maker Adin, only most of the kriya has to be done from a kosher Megillah. But you can, as long as you got the whole kriya. So if you missed the word totally, okay, you're out. But if you didn't miss the word, but you said the word, but it wasn't from mitoich haksav, from reading it from inside, so then you're yotze anyways. It's not l'chatchila. L'chatchila is to be yotze every word from a kosher Megillah. But you can be yotze outside, and it's very negay. If a guy misses a word, he could read it. He could read it and catch up to the Balkoya, if you could. It's not so easy sometimes. And I always tell my wife that she always thinks she misses words. So I said, don't say the words, because she'll start saying the words, she'll never catch up to the Balkoya. Because what won't happen, she'll just miss another 10, 15 words. Between me and you, she heard the word, and she was yotze. You hear the word, you're sitting there, but if you think you miss it, and you're going to read it, and you're going to try to catch up, it's got to be rough. So, but Lamaisa, if you're reading along, the only catch here is you're only yotze. You have to be mashmiya lo aznav. When you read the halacha is that when you read the Megillah, you have to say it loud enough to be mashmiya lo aznav, to be yotze, to hear it. If you say it so quietly, to hear it to your own ears. You say it, you whisper it, but you have to be able to hear it. If you're not whispering it loud enough to hear it, then it doesn't work. So we have to be mashmiya lo aznav.
So if you miss a few words, you can read them at home from
No. If you miss a few words, it has to be. If you miss a few words, you're in trouble. I mean, if you read it then, at the time, when you missed it, you're okay. But if you go back home to read, so then there's some machlokes where you have to make a bracha and read it again. But you definitely have to hear the whole thing again.
Can you read it from the
No,
back
you got to
of
do
the
the whole
Chumash?
Megillah. From where you missed, you got to start. From the word you missed, you got to do
But
it
it has
again.
to be from a kosher Megillah.
Yeah, because unless it's all the way at the end, but if it's somewhere in the middle, you have to do from that word you missed till the end of the Megillah. You have to do over again. That's why we have a minhag that we learn out loud, right? So my issue, everybody learns together out loud. Everybody says it, right? Different parts, including the last pasuk. So some people will be machmer that the last pasuk in the Megillah, the ones that you read out loud yourself. So it's okay. The Balkai reads it again. But the last pasuk, when soon as you read it yourself, you're yotzei. You finished the Megillah now. So if you read it from a Megillah, so you read it from a kosher Megillah. But if you didn't, you read it from your Chumash. So now you finished. So you didn't get the whole Megillah from the Ksav. You got most of it from the Ksav, and the last pasuk you learned outside. Now the Balkai reads it. It's too late. You already finished your Kriyas Megillah.
I don't get it. So why aren't you also with what he said?
Because you already
Does that
finished.
include the fact that you said it on your own?
You finished.
It's
over.
From him?
It's over. You're already yotzei. Unless you have a mind.
You're because you didn't read it from a clock.
You're yotzei without reading from a cloth a little bit.
Oh, a little bit, right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So unless you have a mind not to be yotzei, when you read it from the thing, it could be yotzei already. You finished it. Well,
So you have to have specifically in mind you're not yotzei when you're reading that, so that you hear from him.
Yeah, but so then why shouldn't that be okay? If you're yotzei,
you're yotzei, but it's a busy effort.
Oh, it's not.
It's a busy effort.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Another place where this comes out is a famous Mordechai. We know by the Asar B'nei Haman. We learned it out loud, right? The Asar B'nei Haman. We had ish, whatever. You read it all. So. So why do we say that Asar B'nei Haman? We're so interested in saying all Haman's kids' names. Good Mordechai Yehudi. We want to pursue Nisa, So it could be because you want to show how they were hung. So you read off all the names they were hung. The Rogatchover says a very interesting pshat. He says that how does this go again? He says that since you have to say it in one breath.
Yeah.
We say it. It's a bit say it in one breath.
Why do we do that?
So. So we say it in one breath. The Gemara says why we say in one breath. It was hung at once. Whatever we say, it was hung together. But we say it in one breath, all of them. So the din shemeh ka'ina could only go on the etzim kriya. But the one breath you can't get a shemeh ka'ina on. That's the Rogatchover's chiddush. So therefore we do it ourselves in one breath to do it. These are the miles of having a kosher Megillah. So you lay it yourself, but l'maisa. You definitely get it without it. Anyways.
So when we do it, when the audience does it, we should also do it as in one breath?
If you could.
Because otherwise we're not yotzei that aspect.
Yeah, it's only a hiddur, it's not a chiyuv.
It's pointless doing it. If you're not going to do it in one breath,
wait for him. I don't know if that's the only reason. This is his reason, the Rogatchover. Others have...
Going to the right.
But if the Balkari does it in two breaths, it's still a kosher reading.
Yeah. It's only a hiddur. Yeah. It's a whole shiloh writing the Megillah. I'm not going to get into this too much. It's a whole shiloh writing the Megillah. You'll notice that the different kind of Megillahs, how many lines there are. There's a Hamelech Megillahs, and then there's 22-line Megillahs, 42-line Megillahs. And then there's what we call the 11-line Megillah. You ever saw these thin Megillahs, 11 lines?
What do you mean by 11 lines?
11 lines. Per column. Yeah. Per column, 11. The reason why they did it like that, because it's a whole shiloh. The Seres B'nei Haman is supposed to take up a whole amud. Now, the Seres B'nei Haman is supposed to take up a whole amud, but the question is, it doesn't say anywhere that you make big letters. Now, if you want to make it a whole amud, so the question is, how are you going to write it? So what they do is, in the Megillah, to make big letters, with all Haman's names as a kid. So the Goin held, no, you shouldn't make big letters. It doesn't say anywhere. Vayikra, in this week's Pasha, is a small aleph. It's a Messiah to have a small aleph. Where does it say Messiah to have big letters here? So in the Goin Megillah, they didn't take up a whole cloth. They just, at the end of the thing, they did that Seres B'nei Haman. He argued on this concept that He argued on the whole concept, but Lamaisa, so they came out with a Goins Megillah, which to make the whole Megillah 11 shuras,
Which is controlled by that page.
Just to get for that page. That's the reason why they do it. That's the idea of Yama.
There's an irony that.
Yeah. I just want to get quickly, it's late, I want to get to two other mitzvahs, we'll speak out very briefly. There's two other mitzvahs Hayyim, is Mishloach Manos, Mishloach and Matanas Lavyonim. Now it's interesting in halacha, the halacha of Matanas Avyonim is brought first. In the pasuk it says Mishloach Manos first. The question is, which is first? Which has a mitzvah kadima? Mishloach Manos or Matanas Avyonim? A lot of poskim say Matanas Avyonim come first because you see, you want right up. The minhag is right by Kriyas Megillah. You have to give to them to be yotzi. You make a bracha, the bracha on the Megillah. You make a shachianu. What goes on all the mitzvahs. So right after we do Matanas Avyonim. But that's for Shiloh, which one comes first? Because the Shulchan Aruch puts Matanas Avyonim first, and the pasuk sounds like Mishloach Manos is first. Different minhagim. A lot of places say.
When you say Kedima, sorry, you're talking about just the order that we do it in?
The order
or are you
we do it
talking
in.
about if you're only in a position to
That's
do
a different
one?
thing. No, we're talking about the order you do it in. That's another question. If you can only do one, which you do, but the order Kedima, which is first.
Okay.
If you have Todd of Scheiner, Todd, right? You have mitzvah every day.
So this is a different mitzvah. It's a different mitzvah. It's Matanas Avyonim. So for Matanas Avyonim, just briefly, Matanas Avyonim, the chiyuv is to give stock to how much you have to give. So the Mishnah Berurah brings down from the Ritva, you yotze with 2 prutas, to Avyonim, very small amount. But a lot of other Achronim hold that, the poskim hold that you have to give a choshev matana, so we consider it something which is a meal, something which is the amount of a meal. How much can you buy a meal today? A Danish and a coffee, a couple of bucks, but that's what it is.
I heard you got to give at least as much as you're spending on your own sudas Purim.
That's Musa.
We're talking halacha.
In halacha, you yotze with a suda or whatever.
I heard you're supposed to spend more on it than you spend on your Mishloach Manos.
Kol moisiv, you're supposed to be moisiv in Matanas Avyonim. You're supposed to give more. You're supposed to give as much as you could. The person kol ha-poshet yad noisim loy. But the chiyuv to be yotze, it's important to know what the chiyuv is because you have to give for yourself. You have to give for your wife. You should have a mind that when you're giving this money is for yourself and for your wife and for your zakat, 2 aniyim, but 2 people, mishpacha, whoever's old enough to be chayiv in the mitzvahs, the person should give.
What's the difference in concepts between Matanas Avyonim and Tzedakah La'aniyim?
Tzedakah La'aniyim is a chiyuv all the time. Matanas Avyonim is dafka on this day. It could be not yotze, that's all shiloh. If you're giving, if you send it before and they get it on Purim, or if you send it on Purim, they get it afterwards, all shiloh for yotze. Those who try to be mahadar, try to give it on Purim and get it on Purim. But mice, if you can't, you can give it before if they get it on Purim. Now, it has to do with a Suda, because that's why if you give it before, the reason why they didn't allow you to give it before, because they'll use up the money before Purim. They won't be neder from it on Purim, they won't use it for the Suda on Purim. You want them to be able to use the money on Purim. It's a very chamadika thing. If a person sets aside money, or even is machashim to give a certain amount of money on Purim for Matanas Avyonim, he's not allowed to switch it to a different money. Halacha is halacha in Shulchan Aruch. You're not allowed to switch it to other money. So if a person is going to give money from Matanas Avyonim, he has to make sure to give it. So that niyam that he can have it. He's not allowed to switch it for different stock or different cause. There's halacha in Matanas Avyonim. Avad is halacha called poshet yad. That's the time of stock. Some people used to carry on little coins. Or someone. Right? No, Purim called push yad. There is a chiyuv if you know the guy's legit. But a Purim we don't look into him.
Because of tzedakah or because of poshet yad?
Tzedakah stuff.
What if you know a guy's very wealthy? Poshet yad says
No.
Right? Poshet yad says you still give him.
No. So not to say. No.
How do you know it's from tzedakah?
Tzedakah. The only thing is,
Where's this source?
okay, we'll talk about it afterwards. I don't know. But it's tzedakah. The only thing is, you don't look into him. And another guy, you have to make sure he has a good settle that has a stamp on it, if he's legitimate. But on Purim, a guy comes around, we know what Rebbeinu Shalom gives to us also. He doesn't look into us. We ask Rebbeinu Shalom for a push yad and he gives us. it's just getting late. For that's matanas avyonim for shalach manas. So also, how much you have to give for shalach manas? Two manas. You have to give 2 foods. How much? So you can't just give 2. I was once, I won't say where I was, but they give him, even the rich people, they gave out a couple of candies and a thing, shalach manas. Partially, you're not yitzchak shalach manas with that. Shalach manas has to be something chashiv. Allah has brought down that you should, for if you're giving it to a gvir, you have to give something that's suitable for him, something chashiv for him. You can't, good. It's totally in what the reason for shalach manas is. There's a couple of reasons why, what the mitzvah of shalach manas is for.
Appropriate, right? I think.
What?
Appropriate.
Yeah. There's
Friendship.
the Trumas Deshon says the mitzvah is that everybody should have enough to eat by the Sudas Purim. That's one reason. Or they go like that. The Modas Halevi, Shem Alkabitz, he wrote a sefer. It's called Modas Halevi. This sefer he wrote as Shalach Manas to his son-in-law, I think. He wrote a son-in-law who wants to send him Shalach Manas, so he wrote a whole pirush on the Megillah. And Shem Alkabitz, he wrote the L'Chadodi. Times of Arizal, the big Makabal. So he wrote a pirush on Megillah as Shalach Manas to son. It's called Modas Halevi. He was a Levi, the present of the Levi. So anyway, so he writes over there as in order to be marba achva b'reis shalom b'reis. That's why we do it. The Bach takes it so far that
what is the reason?
To be marba reis, friendship, to build up friendship. Not that everybody should have. Nafkamina would be, let's say I send to a guy and he doesn't know where it's coming from. So if it's so we should have a meal, so it doesn't matter. I'm yoitza. But let's say you forget to put your name card on it. It happens to me sometimes. I get it, and I forgot to send it. Put the name card on. The guy doesn't know who sent it. So if it's because you have a meal, so he has. But if it's the reason it's marba reis, there's no reis being marba. He hasn't got a clue who sent it. But the Bach takes it.
Has enough for a meal. How could he be yoitza?
I gave him for a meal. Who knows which one he'll eat? Yeah, technically. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a food type, according to, if it's just friendship.
That's a shaila, yeah, if it has to be food, because another thing is,
something else.
yeah, it's another shaila. No, it has to be food. The question is, it could be translated into food.
Really?
Yeah, because you could change it into food, it's a shaila. But, the Bach wants to take it so far, who's it better to give it to? Project Inspire decided it's best to give it to somebody you don't know. Somebody do kiruv with it, make a new shalach manas for kiruv. But there's a whole question: who's it best to give shalach manas to? Your good friend, or to give it to someone you don't know, or someone that might be angry at you? You're not so well with. So it's a shaila. So the Bach says the best one is to give it to your good friend. Ish levayehu. You have to give it to your friend. You want to keep up the reyes and the amar reyes. So that's only according to that reason. According to the first reason, it's better to give someone that's maybe poor, doesn't have so much food. It could be, you want to give him for a suda, like you're saying. Someone who has a suda, he doesn't need it as bad. Someone who doesn't have a suda, it's best to give it to. That's a shaila. What the reason of shalach manas is, it would make an afkamita.
But isn't that what matanas avayim is for?
Yeah, there's a question of yours both together. Pashat you can. Matanas avayim is tam tzedakah, but shalach manas is specifically that you're giving a suda. Yeah.
Why only one? Why only one? Be marba lots of reyes.
Why the chachamim masakin only for one?
Mishach manas is 2 pieces of food to one
person. Yeah.
Or start off when you.
Yeah. So akopadim, but if the reason is because you're giving him marba reis, it could be the chachamim say that as long as I give something which is chashiv to me, let's say I'm a poor person, I'm giving it to a rich. If I give something that's chashiv for me, that brings care of adas. But if the purpose is to give him a suda, to give him something, so I have to give something. If I give him something that's not chashiv to him, what am I giving him? So akopadim, even if you're saying Gevir should be more chashiv of shalach manas, but even if you're not, to anyone, you can't send stam little pieces, you give something that's something that he could use, something that's chashiv, that's ikar chiyur, ikar adin of shalach manas, is to send something that's good. Okay, well, anyway, it's late.
To at least 2 people.
Shalach manas is to one person.
One.
Two manas to one person.
Two items, one.
Yeah. Matanas avyonim is to